A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move that has sparked significant debate, President Donald Trump has proposed a provision within his ambitious tax and spending overhaul, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill. This provision, known as the enforcement of remedies against unfair foreign taxes, is being referred to as a revenge tax. It aims to target countries deemed by the Trump administration to impose unfair taxes on U.S. companies and individuals. The implications of this measure could reverberate not just within the U.S. economy, but also across international markets. The provision allows the United States to impose additional taxes on entities from countries that the administration believes are engaging in discriminatory tax practices. Specifically, it calls for levies on revenue generated from digital services, which include data monetization and online advertising. Furthermore, it proposes a higher minimum tax on the profits of foreign entities, regardless of whether those profits are earned within U.S. borders. This could potentially deter international investors, particularly from countries flagged as discriminatory. Experts are raising concerns about the potential fallout of such a policy. Stuart McIntosh, executive director of the financial think tank Group of 30, emphasized that this revenge tax could exacerbate economic uncertainty. He stated, "This move will stop foreign CEOs from investing, the very thing President Trump says he wants. It means more wild economic swings, stock market declines, less stability, and a greater chance of recession this year." McIntosh's warnings reflect a growing anxiety about the administration's unpredictable approach to global economic policy, which has already created a climate of uncertainty in international markets. Under the proposed provision, foreign governments and international businesses could face a hefty 20% tax on income sourced from the United States, including interest, dividends, and royalties. The tax would be phased in gradually, increasing by 5% annually. Additionally, profits earned at U.S. locations that are transferred to foreign parent companies, as well as income from the sale of U.S. real estate by designated bad actors, would also be affected. However, the legislation includes exceptions for foreign pension funds and charitable organizations, ensuring that not all foreign entities are impacted. House of Representatives Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith, a Republican from Missouri, acknowledged that while the provision could serve as a retaliatory tool, he hopes it will never take effect. According to the Nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation, this measure could generate an estimated $116.3 billion in revenue over the next decade, although it is projected to lower tax revenue in the long term by $12.9 billion in both 2033 and 2034. The Trump administration's shifting trade strategies have already led to a series of legal battles and policy reversals, contributing to a climate of unpredictability that has left many companies hesitant to make long-term plans. For instance, toy manufacturer Mattel and automaker Stellantis have both suspended financial guidance due to the volatile nature of U.S. tariff policy. Consumer confidence has also experienced significant swings in response to the administration's trade announcements. When Trump unveiled a series of sweeping tariffs against trade partners earlier this year, consumer confidence plummeted to a 13-year low, only to rebound after the administration paused the implementation of those tariffs. Analysts warned that provisions like the revenge tax could further deter foreign investment and strain developing partnerships. Chris Turner, the global head of markets and regional head of research for Europe at ING, noted, "If you've got the headwinds of an extra withholding tax that starts at an extra 5% and moves up to 20% over the subsequent 4 years, investors would have second thoughts. In terms of optimizing your investment strategy, you'd have a slightly smaller allocation to the U.S." Evidence suggests that some economies are already diversifying away from the U.S. market. For example, Canada has increased its trade relationships with Europe and Asia, while Trump's trade policies have been cited as factors in foreign governments divesting from U.S. treasuries. The European Central Bank continues to promote the euro as a competing global reserve currency, indicating a potential shift in global economic dynamics. This revenge tax is yet another mechanism in the Trump administration's broader trade strategy, which has relied heavily on tariffs, despite facing ongoing legal scrutiny. Recently, the U.S. Court of International Trade blocked the administration's blanket global tariffs enacted under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act. However, a federal district court temporarily halted the enforcement of this block while legal battles continue. Legal experts suggest that many of these tariffs may not withstand judicial review, raising questions about the administration's authority to impose such sweeping international tariffs. Greg Schaefer, a law professor at Georgetown University, stated, "There's no statute that provides the president that authority to impose sweeping international tariffs through the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. If there were such a statute, it would be unconstitutional because the Constitution provides that responsibility to Congress." However, the ruling did not address tariffs on aluminum, steel, and automobiles, which are governed by a different legal basis, the 1962 Trade Expansion Act. Under this statute, Trump recently announced plans to raise those tariffs to 50% for most imports. As the debate over the revenge tax unfolds, it remains to be seen how this provision will impact the U.S. economy and its relationships with trading partners around the globe. With growing concerns about economic stability and investor confidence, the implications of this measure could be profound, marking a pivotal moment in U.S. fiscal policy and international trade relations. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.